There's a version of you reading this right now that doesn't doubt. That doesn't overthink. That doesn't sabotage what they want with stories about why they can't have it. And here's what's going to blow your mind. That version isn't some fantasy future self. They're alive right now, making decisions, breathing, existing in a frequency you can tap into this very moment. You think you're stuck because your external world hasn't shifted yet. But what if I told you that your dream reality is already broadcasting on a different channel, and all you need to do is tune in? What if the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't about time or effort or worthiness? It's about signal clarity. See, most people approach manifestation backwards. They try to change their external circumstances first, then hope their internal state will follow. But consciousness doesn't work that way. The field responds to identity, not intention. It mirrors back the version of you that's consistently showing up, not the version you think about for 5 minutes during meditation. And this is where reality gets interesting. There are infinite versions of you existing across infinite timelines right now. The successful version, the confident version, the healed version, the abundant version. They're not waiting to be created, they're waiting to be accessed. Every decision you make, every thought you think, every emotion you feel is either tuning you toward them or away from them. But here's the glitch in the matrix that no one talks about. You've been trained to identify with a version of yourself that struggles. The one that doubts. The one that plays it safe. Not because that's who you really are, but because that identity felt necessary at some point. It kept you alive, kept you accepted, kept you from taking risks that felt too scary. The problem is, that version of you is now running your life by default. Making your choices. Filtering your opportunities.
Interpreting your reality through the lens of limitation.
And as long as that identity is in the driver's seat, the field will keep reflecting back experiences that match that frequency. You want to know why some people seem to effortlessly attract what they want while others struggle for years? It's not about techniques or affirmations or vision boards. It's about which version of themselves they're consistently embodying. The successful person isn't successful because they achieved success. They achieved success because they were already successful in their identity.
This is what I call reality programming.
Your identity is the code. Your consciousness is the processor.
Your life is the output.
And right now, you're running old software that's generating the same results on repeat. But what if you could upgrade the operating system? What if you could consciously choose which version of yourself gets to make today's decisions? What if instead of trying to manifest from where you are, you started being who you need to be? I'm going to share something with you that changed everything for me. Last year, I was stuck in a pattern I couldn't break. I knew exactly what I wanted, I was taking action, I was doing all the right things, but nothing was shifting. I felt like I was running in place, working hard but going nowhere. Then I realized something. The version of me taking those actions was still the same version who didn't really believe it was possible. I was trying to build a new life with an old identity. I was attempting to create extraordinary results while operating from ordinary beliefs about who I was. So I did something radical. Instead of trying to change my circumstances, I changed my identity. Not through positive thinking or fake it till you make it strategies, but through conscious identity shifting. I started asking myself one question before every decision: what would the version of me who already has this choose right now? And something incredible happened. Within weeks, opportunities started appearing that had never been there before. People responded to me differently. Conversations led to connections I couldn't have predicted. My entire reality began reorganizing itself around this new version of who I was being. This isn't magic. This isn't wishful thinking. This is how consciousness works. The field is constantly reading your energetic signature and delivering experiences that match it. Change the signature, change the experience. But here's where most people get tripped up. They try to think their way into a new identity. They visualize and affirm and hope that if they picture it enough times, it'll become real. But identity isn't created in the mind, it's embodied in the nervous system. It's felt in the body. It's expressed through behavior. The version of you that has everything you want doesn't just think differently, they feel differently. They move differently. They make decisions differently. They respond to challenges differently. They carry themselves with a quiet knowing that everything always works out for them. And here's the beautiful part: you don't have to become this person gradually over time. Identity is quantum. You can shift it in an instant. The moment you decide to stop being the version of you that doubts and start being the version that knows, everything begins to change.
I want you to close your eyes for a moment.
Feel into the version of yourself that already lives your dream life. Not the details of what they have, but how they feel.
How do they walk through the world? What kind of energy do they carry?
How do they respond when challenges arise? What's their relationship with uncertainty?
Can you feel it?
That confidence? That peace? That unshakable knowing that they're exactly where they need to be? That version isn't separate from you. They're not some future possibility. They exist right now in a parallel timeline that you can access anytime you choose. Now here's the key. Most people try to jump timelines through external action. They think if they just work hard enough, hustle enough, do enough, they'll eventually become that person. But timeline jumping doesn't work that way. You don't do your way into a new identity, you be your way into a new reality. The moment you start consistently choosing thoughts, feelings, and actions from that higher version of yourself, the field has no choice but to reflect back experiences that match. This isn't about pretending or faking it. This is about recognizing that the person you want to become already exists within you and learning how to give them permission to run your life. But there's a catch. The old version of you won't go quietly. It's been protecting you for years, and it won't understand why you're suddenly trying to replace it. You'll feel resistance.
You'll hear the voice of do.
You'll be tempted to slide back into familiar patterns of thinking and feeling.
This is normal.
This is expected. This is part of the process. The old identity doesn't disappear overnight. It fades as you stop feeding it attention and energy. Every time you catch yourself operating from the old version and consciously shift to the new one, you're strengthening the neural pathway of your future self. Think of it like training a muscle. The first few times you go to the gym, everything hurts. Your body resists.
You want to quitter.
But if you keep showing up consistently, eventually it becomes natural. The same thing happens with identity shifting. The more you practice being the version of yourself that has what you want, the more natural it becomes. And here's where it gets really interesting. As you start consistently operating from this new identity, your external world will begin to shift. Not because you're forcing it to change, but because you're broadcasting a different signal into the field. People will respond to you differently. Opportunities will start appearing. Synchronicities will increase. Your reality will reorganize itself around who you're being. But you have to trust the process. You have to be willing to act as if even before you see evidence. You have to embody the truth of who you're becoming even when your current circumstances don't reflect it yet. This is the leap of faith that separates those who transform their lives from those who stay stuck in familiar patterns. I want to share a practice that changed everything for me. Every morning, before I check my phone, before I think about my to-do list, before I engage with the external world, I spend 10 minutes embodying my future self. Not visualizing or thinking about them, but actually being them. I feel how they feel when they wake up. I notice how they breathe. I observe how they move through space. I connect with their energy, their confidence, their peace. I let that version of me make decisions about how to approach the day. And throughout the day, whenever I notice myself slipping back into old patterns, I pause and ask, how would my future self handle this? This isn't a technique you do once and forget about. This is a way of life. This is about making a commitment to consistently choose who you're becoming over who you've been. It's about recognizing that you have the power to shift your identity in any moment and trusting that when you do, reality will follow. Because here's the truth that most people never learn. You're not waiting for permission to become who you want to be. You're not waiting for circumstances to change. You're not waiting for proof that it's possible. The only thing you're waiting for is your own decision to stop being who you've been and start being who you're becoming. Your dream life isn't something you achieve, it's something you embody. Your ideal reality isn't something you attract, it's something you tune into. The version of you that has everything you want isn't someone you'll become someday, it's someone you can access right now. So the question isn't whether it's possible. The question is, are you ready to stop being the version of yourself that doubts and start being the version that knows? Are you willing to let go of the familiar identity that's been keeping you small and step into the expanded version that's been waiting for your permission? Because the moment you make that choice, everything changes.
Not tomorrow.
Not next week. Not when conditions are perfect. Right now.
In this moment.
With this breath. The field is waiting for your signal. Your future self is reaching back through time, offering you their hand. All you have to do is